Lisa Estabrook of Columbia and author of My Daughter the Bride. You found a great way to pass on some family recipes to your daughter on the occasion of her marriage.
Yeah.
And I'd like you to tell me a little bit about how you connect food and family and in your book, and why you wrote the book.
Well, I wrote the book. My daughter was about to get married. She was emailing me wanting recipes, so actually I started putting the recipes on computer so that I could send them to her. And after 2 years of doing that, I had so many recipes that my son said, "Why don't you try to get the book published, Mom?" You know. And I thought that was kind of a big thing to do, but I figured I'll give it a shot, and I finally did it. And here I am today. But it is basically touching on recipes that you get from, you know, grandmothers, great-grandmothers, and a little story behind it, you know, like a little bit about that grandmother so that it's passed on for generations to come, you know. I just think that with women, we like to do that for especially our daughters, just to pass on recipes that were in our families for a long time.
But you did some of this with your son in mind as well, right?
Well, he has a copy of the book too. You know, I'm hoping his wife will try to cook some of them. But you know, he's definitely, you know, I was thinking of him also.
Now, tell us, you have some real cooking lineage in your family. Can you tell us some about your immigrant grandparents?
Well, my grandfather was a baker. He did an apprenticeship in Germany and then migrated here to America. Met my grandmother, who was a cook for a wealthy family in New Britain. And they met, fell in love, and started the Heinrich Bakery in Southington, Connecticut. And it was in their family, you know, until my father was an adult. And you know, then my grandfather had passed on, and the bakery was no longer. And a lot of those recipes were, you know, they didn't even write them down. They just knew them by heart. So those recipes, a lot of them, you know, nobody could probably recreate them, you know. Mm-hmm. And so many times I could, you know, you walk into a room and you smell a certain smell, and it reminds you of something that a relative once cooked, you know, and the good times you had when you were having that meal or that dish. And it kind of jogs your memory, you know. So it kind of correlates with how food triggers memories, you know, of good times that you've had with family and friends in the past.
Mm-hmm. Is the bakery still operating?
No, it had burnt down.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what year was that?
That was probably in, I would have to say, the 1930s is when it ended, yeah.
Okay.
But my father was a great cook also, because he had learned from, you know, his parents. And so anytime, and when I got married, I would call him if I had, you know, you think you'd call your mother. Well, I did for certain things, but mostly my father for like cake decorating or baking and stuff like that to get, you know, tips on how to do things. And holidays were always a great time too, because they were always cooking in the house. You know, you'd go there, they'd have a glass of wine, you'd have, everybody's preparing something for the meal. And, you know, it was just really good memories.
What a great, that evokes a really wonderful image of you all just gathered around the kitchen, bumping into each other, and
yeah, it was fun.
Everybody cooking at once. Most of your book has a lot of the cake and cookie pie recipes from. Is that most of that from your family background or from the bakers in your family? I think
it's what I prefer. You know, I really love to bake. That's probably the one thing that I really enjoy doing, you know. Cooking a meal, you know, I enjoy it, but it's the baking that I really like.
And your book has some, we're going to go into a cooking demonstration in a minute that you and I did together. And your book has a lot of recipes in it that are pretty easy to whip up, so to speak, you know, if you have unexpected guests.
Yeah, it's more geared for the beginner cook, like the new bride. That's why it's called, you know, My Daughter the Bride Cookbook. So I tried to keep a lot of them simple. There are a few that are more entailed, but I think that, you know, a beginner cook would be able to easily do them.
Great. I think in particular we're going to show some recipes afterwards, or some images afterwards. We can talk about the rib recipe, a favorite of a lot of the guys around around here and in your family, as you said. Should we go to that demonstration? Okay, Lisa, what are you going to make for us today?
Well, we're going to start with making an appetizer. It's called Sweet with Heat. Basically, it's a cream cheese with a sauce that we're going to put over it and use it as an appetizer. Great. Should be easy to make. You ready?
Sure, why not?
Okay. We're going to start with, actually, we're going to use a ½ cup of apple jelly. And right now, I'm just going to eyeball it because I kind of know
That's
what
you do.
cup is. And then we're going to also use a ½ cup of the apricot. And this is an apricot preserve, so you're going to get all the texture of the fruit and stuff in it. So it's the same amount. Just a little bit more. And what we're going to do is we're going to use, this is a country Dijon mustard, and this is about a teaspoon. And I like this because with the country Dijon, you get the little seeds of the mustard in it, which is going to really look good with, well, you'll see when we mix this all together. And then we're also going to be using, this is horseradish, and I believe we have about 1½ tablespoons. And I know you're thinking, oh my God, she's putting horseradish in with jelly. What is that going to taste like? But it's really, really good.
That's the fun chemistry of cooking, right?
And now we're just going to mix this all together. It's something you don't expect, but you're going to get the heat, almost like jalapenos would give heat to something. The horseradish is going to give it just a little bit, not a lot. Now we're going to mix this together so it's all incorporated. And this is like your fast. If you have company coming over and, you know, you're kind of stumped at what you can make, throw together for them, you know.
And these are things easily kept in the pantry, too.
Yeah. Just keep them on hand. And that is all you're doing for this. And then what you do is you're going to put it on an 8-ounce cream cheese. And you're just going to pour this on. I think it's what looks a little pretty.
It does.
Probably have enough, but this is probably enough for, oh God, I would say maybe 10 people if you're having them over. You know, just garnish it with something, and that's it.
You've got enough left over to do another one, really.
Yeah, you really could.
If it turns out they stay later than you expected.
Yep.
That's lovely.
So that's really a nice, easy dish. Really good. You want to try it?
Well, of course. Let's do that.
Here we go.
Okay to
give you this.
You join me?
Crackers. Yep. And you can use just the butter crackers or sesame seed crackers if you want. That would be fine. And this is the buttery
You're always
cracker.
Looking for something to whip up for someone who sort of comes in.
Absolutely.
And or
I don't know about your house, but they show up at the last minute, you know, or different, huh?
Oh, I like it. I like the horseradish.
Notice I take 2, you take 1.
Well, because with all that sweet.
It's good with the horseradish, huh?
Right.
Not bad.
And pretty.
And the next one we're going to be making is we're going to make a salmon dill spread. And this too you would also put on crackers. Just move this out of the way.
What would you like?
Well, we're going to start with the cream cheese and the sour cream. And this is an 8-ounce block of cream cheese. I'm just going to put this in the bowl.
I'm going to let you do this. Is that the sour cream?
That's the sour cream.
Excellent.
And I need a spoon or something. Good. And then we're going to add all those other ingredients that you have over there.
Excellent.